this now. I got to be careful what I say. So he says that she's crying on my shoulder that she's not getting any deals and all the stuff that's coming in the doorway. You know, the more experienced people are taking it all. I says, you know what? If you want to make a living, you got to specialize. You gotta go after a niche market. She says, well, how would I do that? Now, in this area of Florida is extremely competitive, as is a lot of parts of Florida, right? So she says, what would you do? I says, let's go. I says, come on, buy me lunch. We're going to go out and take a ride for an hour, right? So I go out and I get in the car and I shoot up my laptop and we
You
go
never
on
ask me that,
process.
Steve.
I'm sorry?
Never ask me that to buy you lunch. You know I would.
So I like this girl. She's a nice girl, young kid, right? And you can tell she really, really wants to make it, right? Anyway, make a long story short, I sent her out to a couple of different building groups. What do you want to call those? Neighborhoods, small neighborhoods, right? They were like all the homes are basically almost cookie cutter the same. But in this particular area, the lots were larger, right? And so this development, which is what I was looking for, was probably going back to the 70s. So it was already starting to turn over. People were starting to put money into the houses and all. So I said to her, I said, look, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go into this neighborhood. And there were quite a few second-story homes in this neighborhood. I says, go knock on the doors. Ask them if they like to sell, if they like to trade their house up for something that's a single-floor home, because you've got inventory where you can probably make this happen. The first day she did this, she got 3 signings. She signed up 3 people. Now she's a real estate agent. Never did it before, right? So, and then she had a couple of days that was, people started asking her questions. She didn't know how to answer them, whatever it is. But as things went on over like a 2-month period, she got like 16, 18 people that wanted to just sell houses. She's doing this part-time. She got 2 little kids, single mom, right? So she says, now what? She says, well, I've got this going. I've already got these multifamily houses, but rather other 2-floor homes that people want to get out of. And they started selling them. I said, just get the listing. Don't worry about it. She says, I'm too young to be out there selling. Just get the listing, right? She says, what else can I do? I says, go back to the same area. Go after all those homes that are 2-bedroom homes. They've got extra lot sizes outside. That if you add a bathroom and you add a bedroom onto those properties, the property is going to come up 80, 90 grand more. Just give them what they want. Get a contract for what they want and go back. And I want you to build a list. Go out to all the wholesalers that you can get your hands on. You can share it with your agency if you want, whatever. They're going to see the bookings, but go out there and write everyone that you can. So she got I don't know. The last time I talked to her was probably 2 months ago. And she had gotten to quite a few of those. People wanted to move, but they had listed it and it fell out. The people, they didn't do anything to really market it. Yeah. So she put them back on and she was doing well with it. She was hopeful. I'm going to see you next week. I'm going to be down there. So
that's great. Yeah.
Look forward to that trip. In other words, in real estate, you're only limited by your imagination. Mm-hmm. That's really it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank God there's things that we can do to keep us all happy and smiling and making money, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, so we got a few people on here tonight. This is a light group, and that's even better. All right. It's like sitting around a table just tossing the dice.
Yeah.
So I know we have Natasha on tonight. I think Natasha, you're from the Hudson Valley RIA?
Yes, I didn't join yet, but I joined. I was part of that Zoom last week.
Okay, you got to turn your camera on. I got to see who I'm talking to. Okay. So now you contacted me about some deal you wanted to talk about. Or you sent me a long text or email or something.
Yes, I emailed you. So what I wanted to ask, I wanted to do a cash out refinance next year and take out about $150,000. And I was
of your personal house.
Yes.
Oh, go ahead. What town do you live in?
Town of Newburgh.
You in the city? You in the town?
The town.
Okay, go ahead.
So I wanted to know if I should use that as a down payment to get an investment property. But then last week on the call, most of the people were saying that they don't do rentals in New York City. I don't know what the reason is, if the
New York
tenants are back.
City? Yeah, okay.
Well, the state of New York, they said they don't do any more rentals here. So should
Yeah.
I use that to buy outside of the state?
You're asking me a few questions. First of all, the first question was, should I borrow money against my house? How experienced are you in real estate? How many deals have you done?
This would be the first one.
Sweetheart, do not use your money. That's your moat. Your family has built that. You built that for your family. That's your security. Do not borrow money against your house. Now I'm going to tell you this. If you've got a deal that's unbelievable, all right, and you're willing to take the money out of your house and put it into this, if the numbers make sense, you won't have a problem bringing in a private lender. Stay out of banks. Stay away from banks. Banks are only going to give you a hard time. You're going to make you sign 1 million documents. You're going to guarantee your firstborn child, for crying out loud. I stay the hell out of banks. All right. And now, as far as investing in New York, I won't take my money and invest it in New York State. All right. I invest currently. I'm active in Florida, Alabama, Georgia, the Carolinas, that kind of thing. Now, depending on the market, depending on what's happening in the industry right now, tell me from where you sit, what do you think is going on in the real estate business? Is it a great business to jump into? Is it a win? You know, it's so ridiculous that things are so low that you can't lose. Tell me where do you think we are on a scale right now?
I think we're on the high point where I'm seeing a lot of homes are overpriced. So if I happen to get in and the deals aren't good, I'm gonna end up losing money if the value
You
falls.
could lose. You listen. Don't be prepared to lose it all. How's that? My job here tonight is to scare the ever-loving shit out of you. I'm telling you, because Natasha, you're playing with your family's security.
Okay.
You got to be financially responsible for your family and your child and everybody. How many kids you got?
3.
Come on. You can't do that. Okay. And why do you want? Tell me why you want to get into real estate in the first place. Why?
Looking for more security. Well, not security, but also freedom as well. So since the beginning of the pandemic, we've been home. I still work from home. And
Is it mine? I'm sorry. You want to, I missed it. You want to get in for more, you could be the security, you said?
freedom.
Freedom.
So, yeah, I would essentially like to work for myself. So I'm looking to get into the real estate business to hopefully get more door or acquire doors so that I can quit my job. Or at the
Wow.
very least, not have that as my main source of income.
Well, listen, this doesn't just fall in your lap. And you don't get the security, you don't get the easy time or more time to yourself. You're not going to become all that independent. It doesn't happen right away. 5 years from now, maybe 10 years from now, maybe, if you get up and bust your behind and you're taking time away from the family in order to get these things done, some people get lucky and they hit it depending on what their strategy is. I'm going to talk about that tonight. I'm going to show everybody the 7 different ways to buy a house. All right. So we're going to talk about that tonight in detail. All right. And only one of these is going to ask you to use your own money. You're not going to hear this at a RIA. You're going to hear this as from people that are experienced in the industry that want to share. All right. When you go to RIAs have a responsibility to the people that they bring in. I don't want to get way off tangent on RIAs, but a lot of RIAs are there because they want to make money, or a lot of RIAs are around, like the one I belong to on Long Island. He won't let anybody come in there if they're selling anything. All right. So, which is good and it's bad, you know, whatever. I don't know. I'm out, whatever. But Natasha, You need to go and get experienced in this business before you go and even think about spending a dime of your kids, your family's equity in that house. Don't do it.
Okay.
The best thing you can do is go and hook up with someone that's experienced, that's in the business right now, somewhere around Newburgh, somewhere up in Dutchess County. Maybe you'll start off just answering phone calls for people that want to sell their house. All right. Maybe you'd start off just jumping in a car with this person and going out and looking at houses and putting a value on them and seeing what it costs to really fix one of these things. You got to be out of your freaking mind right now. Anybody on this channel that's even talking about doing rehabs. Because I can't put a dollar value on doing rehabs. You can't go buy a piece of sheetrock one day and it's $20. 2 weeks later, it's $60. Come on. And there's shortages all over the place. So who in the hell wants to? I'd rather buy a house that's a pretty house. All right. A pretty house I don't have to spend a lot of money on. All right. And there's more of those available than there are homes that need work that people are going to spend a lot of money on to turn around. All right. Natasha, you spend the time on these calls. All right. And you learn you have to make an investment of not only time, but money. It doesn't have to be a lot of money. All right. But you should make the investment to at least get you to the first base. All right. Look at this channel, because what Justin does on this is 6 days a week, Justin?
7, man. 8 days a week.
7 days a week. All right. Sometimes 2 times a day. All right. And they're all recorded. I think it's, what are you selling this for? $100, something like that?
Yeah.
It's a subscription. Yeah. And I tell people all the time, come online. We sit around and talk. Natasha, the best information I ever got in my business career has always been not going to real estate clubs and all the rest of that stuff and spending lots of money to sit in front of a guru. It's the meeting after the meeting when you're standing outside and you're sitting around a bar or you're sitting around the atrium in a hotel and you're just shooting the shit with everybody that's there that has experience, and you know what? They'd like to see you make it. So hang out here for the rest of the evening. You're my guest. All right. You're Jason and I's guest. All right. This is the only call we do during the week. That's free to anybody that wants to come on. All right. You know, if this is something was around a temper that you like, and maybe come back, see us next week, or you come on and you join. Yeah. All right. But his basic thing is lease options. Yeah. You could kill up in Newburgh with lease options. Yeah. And you don't need money.
Right.
You know what a lease option is?
I've never heard of that now.
Okay, good. Stop right there.
There's a free course.
You got to join this. Listen, Justin's going to contact you. All right, Justin, do me a favor. Get her information. Put Natasha. Put it in the private. I don't know, however this damn thing works, the chat room or whatever it is. And you have a conversation with Justin. A short conversation over the phone. All right, he can tell you what he can do for you and what he can. But what he'll show you in doing lease options, you'll slaughter the market with up in Dutchess and Orange County. I'm telling you, I don't think there's anybody up there even doing a whole lot of it up there. They're doing it, but not a lot. All right. Okay, I've got to move on because we got a lot of other people on here tonight. A couple of guys like Jerry Smith and Vaughn and Hervac and Mag. Good man, we got them all on there. All right, now watch our language here tonight. We got this beautiful young lady on. So, and she's from New York, so I know she's tough. All right. So, all right. Take care, Natasha. Hang in. Don't leave. All right. Listen to what we're all going to talk about. So, who's got a deal to talk about here tonight? Anybody got something to chat about?
I got a question.
Come on, Herbert. Sure, man. Go.
Okay, so let's assume here for a minute that we have a motivated seller.
Yep.
So there's a potential deal here. The issue is there is very little to no equity in the property, and if we do the owner finance analysis here, kind of, and we start figuring out what we could get what we could sell it for on payment. Okay, based on the payment.
Right.
Problem is, in order to cover this homeowner's mortgage, it puts us at like a negative monthly scenario of about $150.
Right.
What do you do on a deal like that? Does everybody follow me? Did I explain that where it made any sense at all?
Yep. I went through one of those deals, I think with Mag last week or 2 weeks ago down in Jersey.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how he
Yeah.
did with it, but you know what? Is the
I can
house
teach
empty?
you. I can teach you, Justin, that one. No.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Everybody's going to be a coach on this thing sooner or later. I'm telling you, right.
Yeah.
I'm going to retire. You got Justin. Is the house empty?
House is empty. Yes. Yes.
Okay, so now if the mortgage is current, all right, and
It
the house
is.
is empty, this person's hemorrhaging cash. Is this a real deal or just somebody you're making up?
Yeah, this is a real deal.
Okay, so now,
yeah.
all right. If the person, what's the market value for the rent there in the area?
Yeah, the market rent is about $1,200 a month. And see, we're
Okay,
sitting somewhere around $1,350 here, PITI, to take care of this
Okay, so
guy's huge mortgage.
How much? Okay, real simple. How much money you want to make a month? 300, 400?
I'd like to make 500.
Oh well. Why don't you contact them back and tell them, listen, I can get you, you're at 1350 all in is what your monthly costs are. I can only get you about $800. So I mean, if you want to put $500 a month towards this thing, I can get you out. Now you might wind up negotiating the 300.
Well, that's better than what they're doing now because they're hitting the whole payment now.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Ah.
But you know what? You see, but you know what? Not everybody's going to be palatable enough to do that. And not everybody's going to stick with you. I'm sorry. Not everybody's going to hang in there and make that payment. They just as soon let the house go or keep the money.
Well, what if let's assume they're okay with that. And so instead of them paying $1,350 a month, they're paying $500.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a way for me to structure this where they could do that for like a year and then we could change and make it more comfortable for them or something where it's a little bit like it's not just like $500 a month forever?
Well, you could say it's $500 a month, for the next 12 months. And you could say it's $250 a month for the remaining time on the contract or the following 12 months. You're only limited by your imagination. Come on, man. Put it in the contract and rock and roll. Make some money with it. Yeah. Because you know what? You're offer. Nobody's going to come to them and give them that. All right.
Right.
I doubt it very much. All right.
Right.
Unless they've been through this podcast, they don't know how real lease options work. And dealing with people with negative dollars. You got to make sure that these people aren't upside down financially as far as they can afford to make this payment. Otherwise, your deal is going to fall apart. Somebody's going to wind up in court.
So I'm thinking
making rent payments,
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking like I was thinking seller finance of some kind, or taking the deed, or getting the deed, or
I don't want the deed. They owe way too much money on a house.
So just lease option.
You're afraid the market's going to go up? Nah.
A lease option.
You want to look at this in a way that you have the least amount of liability. And in this situation, since there's no equity to play with, if this house, listen, I'll tell you what, if the house was $100,000 house and you owed $105,000 or $110,000 on it, but the place could rent for $2,000, I wouldn't think twice. Give me the paperwork. Let me sign it.
Right. Well, yeah.
You're not in that situation. You're upside down all the way around.
Right.
So now you didn't make the mistake. We offer help. We offer help and help to these people. Listen, I can help you. I can get you 2/3 of the way home, but I can't get you to the finish line. You're gonna have to participate.
I'm not going to take over your problem.
You don't want to take over other people's problems, headaches. If I do that, I want to get paid very, very well, and they're not going to be able to do that. You taking over their deed, taking over their house is not doing a favor.
Well, so them either throwing in some money monthly, or me, or the deal's dead. Basically, one of the two.
Well, they come up with one big flat amount of money up front.
Yeah, not going to happen.
You'd be surprised.
Well, you might be right. You might be right.
You'd be surprised. So listen,
Yeah.
I'll put a 1-year contract together, and I'll do an interest. You want to do, if you can get this, all right. You put the deal together where it's a lease option.
I think he froze up. That's a cool pose, though. We should screenshot that and start using it for marketing.
I don't know. You know?
You're back now, sir.
Once you lost me, I'm in and
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Okay.
What was the last
So
thing you were talking about?
You want to set this up as a lease purchase or a lease option purchase, right? Where you can set it up so that your purchase price is going to be equal to the payoff on the mortgage. So if you pay that thing down a little ways, you're going to get the advantages of that. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and you want to make sure that the guy who you're doing business with, all right, I feel a lot more warm and fuzzy if the guy's got some money in the bank, just cut you a check for the first year and you take his problem away. So I'll see you in 12 months. So I mean, if he's going to give you $400 a month towards a deal, collect $4,800 and just put that in the bank.
Yeah.
Listen, I'll make your problem go away. Here's what it takes. All right. We'll put it in this particular account. And the only thing we're going to do with this money is take it out. If you want to give it to your attorney to hold, I'm good with that. Want to give it to a title company to hold or a trust company, an escrow company? Yeah. I'm good with that. Let them just take $400 a month out of this and send it directly to the bank. I'm good with that. I don't want your money. I can't use your money to make this deal work. All right. I can, so I mean, to keep the property, I want to just do this short term. So now what happens after 12 months? You know what? Maybe the guy's not interested, your buyer, and he's not interested in buying the property. So you're back where you started from, but you got his mortgage paid for a whole year. He's not in foreclosure, and he only reached in his pocket for $3,600 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah. Totally
that
makes
works.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think it's interesting that I'm the lease option guy. So like, I was thinking, how can I do this? Owner finance, or how can I really get control of this and then sell the deal for money monthly? Just be the bank, and then the answer is lease option. It's like it's my luck. Yeah.
Look how you can get into the property, make the most amount of money, and limit your liability.
Yeah, exactly.
If you got a big
totally
cushion.
Right. Yeah.
If you got a big cushion where you're not afraid that this thing goes south because you can still handle it, that's great. If it's not there, like people, I was talking to a fellow over the weekend, and I'm doing this lease. I'm doing this. He's doing a subject to deal, right? He's taking over somebody's debt on an existing house, right? The house is over $500,000. The mortgage on it. The house is worth it's worth $525,000 or $550,000, right? He hasn't even been inside this thing yet, right? And I think the house is going to need a lot of work, but he's already sold himself on this deal. I says, well, okay, so how much money are you going to make a month? I'm going to make $200, but I know I'm going to make more down the road. I says, you're out of your mind. You're going to sign for this thing. You're going to put $500,000 on your shoulders, not his personal debt, but you're telling this guy you're going to take care of him. Everyone should have a dollar value set aside as to if they're going to do a subject to deal. How much are they willing to take, and how much are they willing to take in exposure, and how much money do they want to make on that? So I'm saying if it's got a $100,000 house, I want to make $400 per 100,000. Okay, if I'm taking on 500,000, what is that? I got to have that spread. Right. The liability is the same, right? Maybe you discount it a little bit because you're not playing with 5 houses, you're only playing with 1. It's just a bigger bomb to blow up. You got to be careful. Now, if anybody else has got something, speak now or forever hold your peace.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you, Coach Steve.
I'm going to go through my 7 ways of buying a house.
You cleared up something for me, dude, and I appreciate it.
So,
Mag, what's going on, man? How's our things in Jersey?
Yeah, so I just want to give you an update on that deal.
You didn't marry this girl, did you?
Huh?
You didn't marry that girl, did you?
You crazy. No, I was gonna take her out for lunch just like you. I'm learning your skill sets.
There you go. There you go.
Um, so I went and I talked to them, to the husband and wife, about the idea of me, right, helping them on the mortgage, just
Yep.
like what you're telling Justin there.
Yep.
They weren't too keen about it, but then I noticed that when I talk to them, I kind of try to figure it out what their problems are. And they were like, yeah, we were having problems with the tenants, this and that. And so I flipped the switch, and I, instead of doing that, I said, listen, what I can do, Mr. Homeowner, is kind of help you out a little bit on the journey in getting a tenant and everything, and then I can charge you a consultant fee. So they were okay with that.
No,
And
no, no. You're playing realtor and you're asking for problems.
oh no,
You're
no,
acting as a realtor.
no, no consultant fee. Claude says that you can do that.
Call it whatever you want. You're still acting like a realtor. I don't care what anybody tells you. If you're gonna bring people to the table and you're willing to, you're gonna put this deal together with two other people.
Oh no, no, no. I'm gonna teach them how to do them. I'm gonna teach
Oh,
them.
okay.
They
That's
can do
different.
themselves. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna give my suggestion, how to do it. I'm not gonna, yeah,
So
you're
you
crazy.
shoved your hand in the bag and what'd you come out with?
Huh?
You shoved your hand in the goodie bag and what did you come out with? So you talk to them. So you give me an update. So what's the latest?
That's the latest. Then tomorrow
That's the latest?
I'm gonna show them some numbers and see if we're gonna move forward.
Well, what do you plan on making on all this?
I don't know, like 3 grand.
If you can make $3,000, that's great.
Yeah.
$3,000 for showing them how to rent the house. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
People are morons, but whatever. Okay.
What do you recommend?
I recommend get in the deal, get in, turn it over, and get out. I told you what I recommended.
They
You
don't
know
want
what?
that, man. They
And
don't
that, and
want
that's
that.
okay. They didn't want it then.
Yeah.
Time and circumstances changes everything.
Yeah.
All right.
All
Let
right.
the house sit there for another week.
Exactly.
know?
Let them feel the pain.
Yeah, yeah. So listen, let me, you're making all this money, you're making all these mortgage payments and stuff. I don't know, I don't remember what the numbers were. Let's just say they're negative $2,500 a month,
Yeah.
just to pick a number. So what else can you do with that $2,500 a month? If you and I put this together, what could you do with that $2,500 a month? What would you do with it? Can
Yeah.
you imagine not having any more debt with this house and not having to worry about it? I can make that happen.
Yeah.
But I'm getting tired coming over here. I'm gonna be honest with you. There's a dozen deals just within 5 blocks here. So I mean, we either got to get on a Cannonball Express and make this thing happen, or I really got to move on. I don't like to pussyfoot around. I hit people between the eyes. I'm talking off. I hit them between the eyes. I don't have a lot of patience. All right. But I don't expect to make the deal on the first phone call.
Yeah.
Although sometimes you do, everybody's different, but you already had established a relationship with these people.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Let's see what happens. I'll keep it posted.
Justin's laughing his ass off back there.
No,
Yeah.
I'm crying. It's crying. Just
Okay. So what else you got, man?
That's
Anything
all.
else,
And
Meg?
nah,
That's
that's it. I do have what was it? Another one coming up. This guy is just, it's you know where Little Egg Harbor is in New Jersey, all the way down.
Egg Harbor?
Yeah, Egg Harbor.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a house there that this guy is just, I'm talking to this guy about it, but he wants like 190 for the property. And he just gave me straight up, just like in the eye like that, just like you. I asked him if he's a New Yorker. He said that he was. But
So
but
it's
then
a house. It's a house. How many bedrooms?
3 bedroom, 2 baths.
And it's $190,000.
Yeah, and no, he's asking 190. But the house, I think it's worth like 230 to 40.
Must be a
And-
shack for down there.
yeah, so I'm trying to convince him, and there's a tenant in there. The tenants are gonna get out like January. He tried to sell the property on MLS for like 250, and he couldn't sell it. Like he
So
failed.
get a contract for 190. You stipulate in the contract that you go forth and with moving towards the close after the tenants have been vacated.
Okay.
Put the
Well,
pressure on him.
put that on the option, you mean?
Yeah, you put that on if you're going to contract to buy it, or you're going to do a lease option, whichever you do. Inside.
Oh no, he needs the money now. He needs the money now. We can do lease options. He needs the money. 190 now. He needs to pay his ex-wife, and then some other shit. So he needs the money now.
So do a contract to purchase with him for the 190. Tell him you can't do anything as far as even doing any underwriting or getting involved with this contract. You put it in the contract until after the tenants have been vacated that are on the premises at the time. Then you have a right to go in and do your due diligence, go in and check the house. In the meantime, you start walking in the house. This will buy you some time. Just give him what he wants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You get my bill in the mail. Okay. Who else? Where's Hervik? What's going on, man? How's it going, bro?
What's up, Vic?
Good. How's everybody doing?
Everybody's doing. You got anything going on?
Doing.
Yeah, I got this probate deal that I've been working on for a little while, and I was gonna bring it up. I got a buyer for it that'll allow me, that wants the contract, and I could assign it and collect a good check. My godmother, who you met at the IANI event, her and her husband are contractors. She saw it, and she's open to taking on the project, rehabbing it. I was hearing what you were saying, Steve, about staying away from that. And then I got to
everybody's different. If you whatever you're familiar with, and and if they know how to do it, that's great. I'm saying a novice coming in the door, busting open, watching LG TV there, whatever it is, and they say, "God, this looks so great. This is wonderful. I got to get into this." I'm going to get their ass handed to them. So
yeah, they're having to pull permits. They get into any delays. Yeah, it could get.
I need permits. What are you talking about? I need permits. I want changing the sheetrock and the electric in the house. Why would I need a permit? No, it's a big learning curve with doing that stuff, man. I do not do rehabs. I couldn't even do my own damn house. So I mean, after the hurricane, the Hurricane Sandy hit New York, my house got destroyed. We lived in it, God, for 3 years before I got the damn thing finished. So hey, it is what it is. Everybody's got their talent and whatever they do. It's not mine. So your probate deal. So how far are you from closing this thing?
It's got a closing date for the 15th, so it's like next week, I think. Yeah.
Cool. Very good. Very good.
And actually,
get the cowbell out.
I apologize. I said probate, but it's a pre-probate. I'm dealing with the wife. Her husband was a veteran, but he passed away like 2 years ago. And then now, she's a little older. She's having troubles walking up and down the steps. It's a split level house, and she's looking to move to a place where she can get like some adult care, like an adult community.
Yeah. Well,
yeah. So
pre-probate is like they're almost dead. Don't use that terminology.
Yeah.
So she's an elderly person. She wants to sell a house and go into assisted living. Nothing wrong with that. That's great. You're helping her out.
Yeah, and the families, that's what the family wanted to see as well. So yeah. But the other thing I got to thinking was, I think it's a sweet deal, and then I'm thinking maybe keeping it, refinancing and renting it out. I think that
you're spending too much time doing this stuff, man. I'm telling you, you're running a lot of different directions. If your aunt's going to come in as your partner, or she's buying it, or what's happening there?
Yeah. If I close on it and I'm going to do some repairs on it, if I'm going to flip it, she'll be my partner. If I plan on holding it long term, I could hire her to do the rehab. She'd like to probably stay in it as a partner if I'm going to hold it long term, so she'll probably say that. Or I could just wholesale it.
How do you feel about doing business with family members long term?
What's that? I'm sorry?
How do you feel about doing business with family members long term?
You
might want to cut your arm off first.
Great question.
I've heard that.
I did it for years, but
do they like you now?
Something you want to think about. All right. if you pay her to do the updates and the renovations and all, if it was me and it was my own family, I said, listen, you want to handle this? Give me a price on it. Done. I don't have to do anything. And when we're done, I cut you a check. You go your way, I go mine. And I'll decide if I'm going to sell this with seller financing, if I'm going to rent it, if I'm going to burn it down and collect the insurance. I'll decide what I'm going to do with it. So, you know, and this way you're not tied to anybody. But that's your own thing, man. I don't want to, you know,
I hear what you're
that's
saying.
just business. That's just business, you know. So, but that's good. Close on this, baby. Get this thing working. Just know your plan before you dot the I's and cross the T's. Everybody goes into these projects with the best intentions. And sometimes they work out. I mean, a lot of times they work out. A lot of times they don't work out. So if you know, family's family, and even if you do decide to do this, get everything in writing. Because you're going to bring somebody to the table that's going to have other assets than you do. Otherwise, what do you need the person for? All right. So they're going to do things that you don't want to do or you don't have the time to do. All right. And that's great. That accentuates your business, you know. Oh man, knock the ball out. She seemed like a very, very great, nice lady. She was a big winner down there. I know that much. She cleaned everybody's clock. You had to take her to Atlantic City, man. I'm telling you, forget the rest of it. Yeah, good day. Good day. What else, man? What else is going on in your world?
You can spank your friends, but you can't spank your family. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean by that?
Anybody else got something quick before I go into these 7 shortstops here? We did this a while back, and I just kind of ran through it. I didn't spend any time on it. You guys, Vaughn, you got anything quick you want to talk about? Hello, Vaughn.
No, thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right, man. Where's the tires, man? You moved the tires.
Yeah, I moved the camera, but yeah.
You're the best. All right, so we all tied up with everybody right now. You guys ready to go? All right. Way I look at things. All right. There's 7 different ways. This is on a narrow-minded tunnel view. All right. There's 7 different ways to buy properties. Whether this is residential, commercial, multifamily, it doesn't matter. All right. It just the deals get different. All right, from where we spawn them off. The first thing I like to do, my first thing is buy the property subject to the existing mortgage, right? Anytime I look at this, anytime a property is in foreclosure, I look at the owner as anytime they're behind on payments, more than 2 payments. I like to look at that. That would be something. Anytime a person is in
how far the payments, Steve?
I say 2 payments all the way out. Depends on what the house is worth.
Okay.
If they got a $50,000 more a button down, a $50,000 balance on a $100,000 house, we're not worried about it. But if they owe 95 on a $100,000 house and it's $25,000 in the hole, you know, you got to do some deep thinking and see what your exit strategy is going to be on that. You know, so getting back to this, properties that are in financial distress. People are rather in any kind of really serious financial distress. I look to go in as a subject too. If they can't afford the payments, but they're not behind on the mortgage. All right. Remember, they can't afford the payments, but they're behind on them. They're not behind on the mortgage. In other words, they're just scraping it by. All right. Everybody should be writing these down. They're just scraping by. I look to do a subject too. All right. Anytime an owner is just desperate to get rid of a property, this is my first choice. When a property has no equity and it's in good condition, and I think there's really going to be a fairly decent upside on this guy down the road, I look at subject to. And finally, you know, when a property owner isn't broke but wants to get rid of the property as soon as possible, I look to do this. Person's broke. I don't think this is the right way to go about it. You know, I mean, if they're broke and they don't have any money whatsoever. All right. You'll know that when you walk into the house.
Say that again. If they got no equity, what?
No. If the person, I do this as long as the owner isn't, when I get contacted by a property owner, right? And the property owner isn't broke, but they just want to get rid of the house. that's fine. If the property owner is dead broke, and you go to the house and the kids are hungry and this and that, you gotta stop right there, and you got to attend to the problem at hand before you even think about talking about the house. We're all human beings, especially now in the season. This Christmas season, Easter season. Come on, man, you can't do that.
Right.
You're a human being first. All right. So that's when I look to do. I look to take over anything as far as assuming subject to the existing mortgage. Anybody got a question on that? Moving right along. The second thing I like to do, all right, when a property is paid in full, there's no mortgage on it or a small mortgage, is get owner financing from that seller. And I look to get it at 0% interest. That's where I start at. If I agree at a sales price with these people, all right, and they know that we're going to be talking about terms. I don't get into the terms with them. So listen, I'll give you what you want. I'll give you the $200,000 you want for this house. I can make that, but you got to see if I can make my numbers work. So then I'll come back and I'll say, well, I'll give you $200,000. I'll give you $1,000 a month for 200 months. Well, you can scale it up and down, which we're going to talk about next. All right.
Who's the best candidate?
Go ahead. Best candidate, I don't know if you guys can hear me. The best candidate for this are people that have very, very small or 100% equity. They got no mortgage on the property.
Paid off.
Paid off. All right. Any questions on that? Moving right along.
No equity would mean they owe what the house is worth.
No. They have 100%. I'm wrong. 100% equity. Very small, very small mortgage.
Okay.
They have loads and loads of equity.
That's the opposite. That's the opposite of what I wrote.
I'm not reading what you're putting on here. I should probably look at this, but whatever. All right.
Okay.
Number 3.
Okay. Gotcha.
Any question with this?
Just keeping it real. Keeping it straight.
3.
All right.
Okay. You're going to give them a percentage up front and get seller financing on the back end for a certain amount of years. So you're going to make a small down payment or some down payment up front. Can be like your private money partner can come in the door with a small down payment or a big down payment, whatever. And you're going to get the balance he's going to get a balance in whatever years you guys negotiate. I'll give you an idea. Say you're taking that same $100,000 house and you've got private money guys out there that you say, listen, I don't hawk houses. I won't put a loan on a property to an investor that's more than, say, 60%. So I can encumber this house with a first mortgage of $60,000, right? That leaves $40,000 on the back end that we haven't even touched yet. So I'll tell Mr. Seller, here's what I'll do with you. You're going to give a first mortgage approval to me to bring in my private money partner. He's going to hold the first mortgage, and you're going to hold the second mortgage for that $40,000. And I try to get 0% interest for 15 years, and we negotiate it back. The longer you can get a balloon mortgage for that's another method to doing a negotiation down the road. You're giving him the $100,000 that he asked for, but I guarantee you, if you get a 15-year or even a 10-year mortgage on this thing for that $40,000, he's going to come back to you sooner or later because you're going to offer to prepay it at a discount. And you're going to make a nice chunk of cash on that extra $40,000. You might give him it's $40,000. You might give him 15 grand to go away. He's got 5 more years. He's got to wait, however the term is. So that's another way to negotiate the sale on the property. All right. And it's business and it's done every day of the week. All right. Anybody got a question with that?
Best candidate for this?
Best candidate for that is that same person. You can use this on the same person we did the number 2 with. All right, we did 0% financing, but this guy wants some kind of money up front. He needs money. All right, so we're taking over a mortgage, or we're paying off a mortgage, and then maybe he just won't do subject to. So maybe he owes $30,000 on that $100,000 house, and he wants $30,000 to, for right now, just to settle things. So it's the same thing. We're still using that 60 grand. 30,000 goes to the seller, $30,000 goes to pay off the mortgage, and he's got $40,000 he's going to hold long term in a note. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Sounds like a more complicated scenario than number one or number
As
two.
we go along, they get a little bit crazy.
They get a little hairy.
Eric, what's up, man?
I mean, I know you live in New York, and I know the prices are high, but 60 grand doesn't sound like a small down payment.
No, but what I'm going to do is it's not small, but this guy, he wants all cash for this house. This is the guy that wants 100 grand cash, and he's not going to talk to anybody. Let's just say, how many people a day you talk to that are in that boat? So if you look at a house, and a house is worth 100, 200, 300, whatever it is, if you know you've got private investment money, which you all should be outside putting together as soon as you get off the call, everybody should be working on having private money. When you got private money, you can buy houses in a snap. You don't have to wait for banks. You don't have to make, you're the decision maker. So here's a guy that's got the same $100,000 house. He wants all cash flow. And so I'll tell you what, how about I bring $60,000 to the table? You hold the last 40. It's the last offer I can make you. You're in or you're out. What do you think? Well, $60,000 is more than he's going to have, and it depends on how motivated the guy is. All these things depend on motivation. Some people will tell you, remember the Ionati call when he was on it? This guy just wanted $400,000 for his $250,000 house. And on the phone call, the guy said like 15, 16 times in the interview with John, I want $400,000 for my house. House has been for sale for 3 years. So John says, okay, if I get you $400,000 for your house, I'll try the markets out there, see what I can find. Okay, but don't remember, I want $400,000. Okay. So some time goes by, a week or two, whatever it is. John's got a guy by the hand that's willing to pay the $400,000, but he wants terms. And the terms were a sweetheart deal because the house was probably worth at the time, about $275,000, $300,000. And if you finance that for long term, you're going to choke on that $100,000 in interest anyway. So the guy goes, let me look at this deal. So John put it together and called the guy. He says, I got good news and I got bad news for you. What do you want to hear first? What's the good news? I got you your $400,000. Thank God. That's great. You're the best guy in the world. What's the bad news? Well, you got to hold terms. What kind of terms? Well, the guy's willing to do this and this and this and this. Are we in? Yeah, let's sell it. There you go. The guy got what he wanted. He got his $400,000. Give them what they want. All right. This deal number 3 is almost similar to that, where this guy wants that 100 or whatever he wants. All right. If you got private money, you could bring in the doorway, and it's 60 or 70 cents on a dollar. You can say, listen, I only need this for a year. I only need it for 5 years. I want it for 10 years, whatever your strategy is going to be with this house. Some guys like putting money out longer term than just putting it out for 6 months and they got to turn around and do it all over again. It's not, and especially younger people that want to put money in these self-directed IRAs because it's long-term money. They can stick it with you and they don't have to worry about it for another 5 years or 6 or 7 years. There's a lot to be said for that. All right, has anybody else got a question about number 3? Moving right along, we're going to go to number 4, split funded. Split funded means I'm going to give the guy some cash now, and I'm going to give him the balance in the future, which is something similar to number 3. But number 4 is going to tell you that when you got a motivated bill, you're going to use this when you have a motivated seller with a low loan balance. All right, you're going to use this when the property has low or no loan balance at all, and either you can do this for a short period, 1 to 5 years usually. All right, and you're gonna use that. They're gonna clear that balance off because I'll give you an example of this. let's say we're going to do a subject to, and it's that same $100,000 house, and the guy's got a $30,000 mortgage on the property that you can take over. But that $100,000 house, he wants $125,000 for. So you know what? Maybe we can make this thing happen because all of our outgoings are only $1,300 a month. But if the house is in a neighborhood where the house will rent for $2,000. So what are we going to do with this guy? Well, first thing we're going to do is do a subject to and take over that $30,000. So now he wants us to take over this mortgage. He wants some money now. So we'll give him whatever we negotiate. Let's just say, for argument's sake, it's $10,000. All right. And he's going to take the balance in the future, however far off you push that. How would we structure this? Your first mortgage is going to be your property that you're subject to. You're subject to a mortgage. Depending on how you paper this deal up with the seller, let's assume you're not going to do a mirror mortgage. You're not going to get involved with all that. Let's just keep this simple. All right. So we go ahead. We take over the first. We create a new second for the person that's loaning us that extra 20 or 30 or $5,000, $10,000, whatever we want to give the seller in cash. And then we create a new third for the balance of the person's equity. Now, the person that we owe this money to.
What are you creating, Steve? You're creating mortgage, right?
Yeah, let me just get through where I'm going.
Okay.
Then I'll take your call. All right, I'll take your message there. We got 3 mortgages we've created. All right, this third mortgage to the seller might say that we're going to give them I don't know, $2,000 a year for the first 5 years, and then $3,000 a year until it's paid in full. Or maybe $2,000 or $1,000 a year for the first 5 years, and then the balance comes due and payable. Whatever you want to do, you're only limited by your imagination. Ask him what he wants, and then go from there. I don't let interest come into it unless it's going to be minute. So what can you get this? You're not a bank, right? You're not a bank, right? So no, all right, well, what would you do with this money if you just sold it for cash? What would you do with it? Well, I put it in the bank. Well, right now, maybe you can get 1% interest on your money. Okay, so I can figure this deal where I'm going to pay you interest, but I got to reconvene. I got to fix the numbers up. You're not going to get all the money from me. If we're talking about interest, I got to redo the money office here, and what we're going to finance. Most of the time, they'll drop it. My goal is to get equity real fast. I want to get on the express lane when I do this. All right. Mag, what's your question?
No, it was the mortgage. What you were creating, but you told me that you're creating mortgages. Okay, I understand.
So we're keeping it simple with the mortgages. We're keeping it simple. So that's number 4. So that's split funding. All right. So some cash now and the balance in the future. Anybody else got a question about this?
Balance in the future is like a balloon, right, Steve?
Yep. It could be. Yep. It could be whatever you want it to be. You could carry, or you could take over a first on a subject to. You could create a new second with your private money guy.
Yeah.
All right. So you're going to give him some kind of cash, right? And then the third mortgage you're going to put on this is the equity to the seller. And that can be in any combination you want. Don't give him anything for 10 years. And then the whole thing comes due. Or maybe you give him $1,000 a year for 10 years and then the balance comes due. Whatever you want to create. Because that's the way that would work. Now, we also said in the beginning of this, we said it was split funded. So we're gonna pay some money now, cash now, and the balance in the future. So if there was no first mortgage to take over, and let's just say, for argument's sake, he had 100% equity in his property. He owned it outright. What's to stop us from bringing in a private lender for any percentage of what you want to put the private lender's money at risk on? And I say that because people's monies are always at risk. You can put them a cushion on the top with the equity. But as far as I'm concerned, any money you put in any market is always at risk. There's no guarantees. You try to do the best thing you can going in. So what I would do with this, if it was 100% equity, I talk to the guy, how much cash do you need right now? That's where you start. You're going to reverse engineer the deal. So maybe the guys, well, I need $40,000. So if I got you $40,000 now in cash, okay, that leaves us $60,000. That now you go ahead and you play with what the terms are going to be. Maybe you don't give him any interest or any payments for 5 years. Because remember, you're making interest payments and maybe interest and principal payments on this first mortgage that you're investing. And the big word is 2 words, cash flow.
Steve,
Or, yes, sir.
how do you explain that to the person that you're working with? I mean, I know it's kind of you just tell them, look, I'm gonna do this deal creative. How much you know?
No. It depends where their stage of motivation is. If they're telling me, listen, I got to get out of this house, or I already moved, you know, and I'm making a mortgage payment now on a house. Hell, I don't even have a mortgage payment there. I could really use this money. You know, it depends what their stage of motivation is. That's going to determine which way you go with your conversation. Then I'd use the exact conversations that you learned listening with Mr. Diamond. Claude's got a good piece to go along with all this, and this building rapport and all the rest of that. I don't know if I believe in all that. I just don't, you know. But it is what it is. Some people you have to. You can't just hit them between the eyes with the sledgehammer and tell them it's do or die. Let's go. You know, you have to take it. You have to back up and you have to slow down. You have to build up to that. And I got that. But talking to someone with this, they're already, the motivation level is there, and you're not the first, you know, the first guy, you know, the first rodeo they're going to have. They've already been around with people that made them offers, probably didn't come through, didn't show up to see the house. The realtor listed it, you know what the long laundry list of cries and woes are, you know? So, but that's how I get started with them, you know? And if you have to, if you got one of these deals, you pick up the phone and you call one of us and we help you structure it. And if it means I got to get on the telephone with the guy, maybe, you know, maybe I do it. I don't know. Everybody, you know, every deal is different. All right. So,
well, what I'm trying to figure out is what's the best method for selling a deal? Let's say I get a deal like number 4 under contract with a homeowner. I have a private lender involved. I'm subject to the original mortgage as well. How do I sell this deal to a guy and wash my hands of it and collect money monthly?
What do you want to do? So you created the goose and you got the golden eggs and you want to throw it away. Is that what you're telling me?
No. I just want to be the bank.
You want to be the bank. That's cool. Let's be the bank on this deal on number 4. All right. So we've got this whole property. We're only making payments of interest on, let's say, that's $60,000. And this guy wanted 100 plus for this house. So we're in good shape with that.
Yeah.
We come to find out that if this person, anything you're going to do, I'm getting ahead of myself. Anything you're going to do, as far as if you want to sell or finance this deal, okay, I mean, you want to be your own seller and finance this thing at the bank, your underlying mortgages all have to say you have a right to assign. And they have to put them on either a sign or you have a right to encumber them in a wrap mortgage. They've all got to be put on notice because they can't be a surprise. You don't want somebody, some guy calling you, picking up and doing a due on sale clause. You're not going to do this with the wrap with the if you're taking over debt. That's not going to work with this. I don't tell anybody to do that. If you're going to sell a property and it's a subject to, you buy on a contract and you sell with a wraparound mortgage. I'm sorry, a contracted deed. You do one of those. You got to be careful with that. Now, I don't want to be construed as giving legal advice. I'm not an attorney. I'm just doing this from my own experience. Again, what I'm saying is you buy with a contract and sell on like a land trust or a land contract, a land agreement. This way, you're still holding it.
Got it. Yeah,
Right?
gotcha.
Because you got that underlying debt. All right. You don't want this thing. You don't want to assign this debt to somebody. And you get a phone call from this guy 2 years down the road that the $60,000 first mortgage is being called by the bank because they found out somebody went crazy and God knows whatever. All right. Now you got a choice. You either got to buy that mortgage from that bank. Good luck doing that. Buy the mortgage from the bank so you can step into their shoes and keep the mortgage going. Otherwise, the pyramid comes falling down. You gotta be careful with that. You see. So how would I sell this? Number 4. All right. You wouldn't do this if there's an underlying bank mortgage. All right. If you got your seller there, I'm sorry, you've got your private money already set up inside there. Just tell your guy, hey, we're going to do this for 10 years or 5 years, whatever it is. And I can either take you out or whatever. I'm going to put the person in there on a land contract. So, and you'll be secure. The property still stays in my name. It's under contract. So, and everybody lives happily ever after. You go ahead and you put the contract out there and you collect your interest and principal and do the same damn thing as the bank would. And you make your payments to your underlying debt.
Okay, got it. Makes sense.
Okay. Number 5. We run this one out. I guess so. I got my cheat sheet here. Number 5, of course, is going to be our lease options. Okay. Which you guys all have to know about. We don't have to spend a whole lot of time on lease options. But that's the 5th way to control a piece of property. And the 6th piece, the sixth choice is going to be just a regular standard option. Instead of leasing it, instead of going ahead and bringing in somebody in, you're going to promise to lease it and purchase it. No. Just do a straight option where you're agreeing to buy the property for a certain amount of dollars or after a certain amount of time, whatever. All right. And the other last number 7 is you pay all cash or you bring in a private lender and he funds the deal because you're stealing the property. That's number 7. Now there's lots and lots and lots of other ways to purchase property. All right. These are the 7 that I use. All right. And it can be a residential purchase. It can be a commercial property purchase. It can be a multifamily purchase. Depends what you like to do. Depends what, whatever your game is,
General reminder, if my notes here make sense to you, screenshot, because you'll be thinking to yourself later, what was number 4 again? Was that?
Go back and play this again.
Okay. Yeah. Screenshot. Of course you can watch the replay too, but I'm going to screenshot it and put it on my desktop so that I always have a quick reference. Very good training, Coach Steve. Thank you, sir.
I figured we spent a little time on this because we didn't have a whole lot of anything else going on. So, all right. Anybody got questions on this? Boy, we got some real quiet people on here tonight. I don't know. We lost Jerry, it looks like. All right. Well, anybody got anything else they want to talk about tonight? One's going to fall asleep, man. He needs a cup of coffee.
And it's only like 7 o'clock where he lives.
7 o'clock. Man, it's after 10.
Hey,
Yeah.
I wake up at 5 every day, guys.
You're my hero. You're my hero.
You're my hero too, Vaughn.
Right, guys. Anything else to chat about? Anything else you guys want to bring up? Anybody looking at a deal they're not quite sure about? They think it's trash. They tossed it out. Going once. Going
Yeah,
twice.
Steve, I want to do one of those creative deals with you one day. Especially number 4, split funded deal. That one seems fun.
Well, go round up your private money.
Yeah.
Start getting private lenders together.
That sounds like that's what he's doing.
Yeah. Yeah, really, right? You got to get your private lenders together. All right. I don't partner with anybody if I'm a private lender. Forget it ain't happening. I'm a slob. I want all the money.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
People from New York.
Take care, man. Good seeing you, Vivek.
Good
Keep
seeing.
smiling,
I got
brother.
a question. I got a question.
Oh, I thought you were saying goodbye.
I got a comment. I thought you said it was 7 ways to buy a house. I only saw 6.
No, the seventh way was all cash.
Oh, okay.
All cash, or you turn around and you bring in your private money. You steal the deal. Steal a house, pay all cash for it, steal it.
Okay, I guess I was taking the screenshot and I just was paying attention to the 6 that I saw there.
Yep, that's the 7. 7 I use. So, anyways. All right, guys. Anybody else got any comments? Anything else they want to talk about tonight?
What
Shoot.
about eminent domain?
What about it?
That might be a way to take over a house. Maybe
Eminent
not.
domain. Are you the government?
No, but I've heard about squatters, squatters coming into a house and
That's
claiming
not.
eminent domain.
I don't. Eminent domain. I believe is. Don't quote me. But I thought eminent domain had to do with the government or the townships
Yeah.
or whatever condemning a piece of property. I'm looking at a couple of properties right now where the whole family's got wiped out with COVID. And these 2 homes are nice homes in decent areas where the neighbors will do anything they can to get these houses back in shape again. And the house, from the homework I did on the one property, I couldn't find anybody that was related to these people. I even went so far as to go by the funeral homes where they ran the services through, and there was no kin, no nothing. So I don't know about the second one, but these homes have cars in the driveway. There's furniture in the house. There's the silverware still on the table, and no one's been in the houses now. This one for over a year and a half. So, and these homes are all over the country. All over the country. Now we're not talking about homes that are in foreclosure, although they could be, right? These 2 homes that I'm talking about don't have any mortgages on them. They're leaning the properties now by the townships for cutting the lawns and picking up branches and that crap. But they haven't done anything as far as, making foreclosing the property and taking it back and the county taking it. So is that what you were talking? Is that where you were going with this, Hervey? No? Eminent domain.
I was referring to squatters breaking in and then claiming that, it's like their refuge or something like that.
That's okay. You doing that? Is it in your house? No.
I was just joking around. I thought it was like a number 8 way to get into a house.
You stand a chance of going to jail is what you do. Depends on what kind of connections the guy's got, or you do an Irish eviction like Driscoll does, and you end up with your head split. So
It's
in the
free rent.
backyard or in a dumpster a quarter of a mile away, nobody knows what's going on with you.
That's how you get free rent for 4 to 6.
Those people are like terrorists, and they should be treated as so. So I don't have a lot of heart for those people. So yeah, we do what they call an Irish eviction. We discussed that on here once, about a year ago, I think. Anyways, all right, guys. So anything else we want to chat about here tonight?
Steve, what kind of deals are you going after?
I'm still working on a big project. It's a closed down shopping center / mall. I'm looking over that. I'm trying to get the family together on this thing. I don't know what I'm going to get on that. I'm looking at 2 other commercial businesses to do my lease deals with. And in between all this, I'm bored, man. I'm looking at trying to do some lease options or some subject tos, that kind of thing. That's what I'm doing.
I thought you were gonna go after foreclosures and stuff.
Yeah, but the foreclosures that's all part of the lease options. That kind of, I put the whole thing in that one package, where I'm not going to take money out of my pocket. I'm just looking at doing deals where the people are ready to walk away or whatever, and I am going to just rent the house out, rent the house from them, because there's thousands of those houses all over the country.
I have a question, Steve.
Oh, I woke up the sleeping lion. Go ahead.
It's 2 questions. The first question is, what's a good way to locate those people, right? What's a good way to
Which
start
people?
going about it? Reaching out or marketing to those types of motivated sellers. And then my second question, which I might be answering my own first question, is what's the website that you mentioned that they give you the 30 days, 60 days, 90 days late? When people are late on their payments, there's a website.
That wasn't a website. That was a list. That was a list that you could buy. That they actually did a soft credit report on, whatever. And it's right before the people go into foreclosure. So it's pre-foreclosure, if you want to call it that. Yeah. Citricato. There you go. That's it right there. If you see it
In
on
the chat.
Yeah. Did I give you that, Justin?
Well, if it wasn't you, it was somebody that looks a lot like you.
Yeah, there you go. Citricato. I bought one of their lists and I hit it a couple of times. I got some play off of it, but the people weren't motivated yet. If I followed up and I stayed on their tracks, for another 6 or 8 months, yeah, would you gotten something? Yeah, I don't know. Depends on the market you're in. New York's a tough market. I mean, if somebody goes into foreclosure here, they could legitimately stay in the house for 10 years. There's no rush. There's no rush. It's like that in a lot of judicial states. Wow. Texas, Alabama, Georgia, good luck.
That's why you cash cow the thing.
And the laws are a whole lot different. I got to tell you something, and this is interesting. One of the homes that I have in Alabama slipped through the cracks, and I didn't pay the rent, the taxes on it. Right. Ooh. So the annual taxes on this house were like, I don't know, $400 some odd a year. Paid everything else, and I thought I had this one paid, but it turns out it wasn't. They went and sold a certificate on this thing, right? And all right, so I'm going through paperwork, and I get one letter from the county. I think it was the county, the state. I don't know who it was. Saying, hey, basically, hey, deadbeat, we sold a certificate against your property. It's going to cost you a lot of money. You better get off get on track. So I make a phone call. So what's this all about, right? Make a long story short, all right, the person that bought the certificate, the property is probably worth about $90,000. The certificate, the dollar amounts that were due for the delinquency, the tax, all the rest of that, the interest and all that, let's just say it was $1,000. All right. Real high. Let's just say high, $1,000. This fellow goes and bids the house over by $50,000. So he's got it was $51,000 in change that he went and bid on this property, so that no matter what, he figured he'd own it, right? This is a game. I come to find out that when I went to settle this thing, I had to pay interest on the $51,000. How's that shit? Mm-hmm. I don't know how they got that. This is a con game. I don't know how they got that thing going, right? But this is a new scam going on now, I suppose, by the states. So the guy overpays by 50 grand, and I got to pay $50,000 in interest to this guy. So I mean, wow, he is out big bucks. You ever hear of that, Justin?
Yeah, I have. I've heard of that, and I've heard people use it to their benefit, and it just sounds a little sketch to me. That whole,
I don't know if the county or the state's involved with it. It sounds to me like it's a no-lose situation. As long as the house is worth the money and it don't burn to the ground. Even if it did, yeah. I mean, yeah, you could put $40 a month. You can insure the damn thing. So.
I've heard that for 20 years now, man. I mean, that's a great place to invest money. I've never done it though.
Well, maybe we'll put a fund together and we'll go and raise some capital and we'll just go out and buy some of this shit.
Let's just do it. Yeah.
Well, I know. My brother works for a hedge fund, and years ago they had a tax fund that they were doing. They got out of it. They didn't make as much as they wanted, and as fast as they wanted. They get in and get out. So, yeah. But he was telling me the other night, I asked him about this. He just laughed. It was Thanksgiving. He laughed. He goes, oh, yeah. He says, that's good money, Steve. But he says, the rules are constantly changing in the game. is the more and more people are getting involved. So because you want to put $50,000 out on a $75,000 or $80,000 house that might burn down. You haven't seen the inside of it. He says that's where the market's going right now. Is we don't want to play in that field. But Blackstone's in there. They're buying homes by the thousand in tax certificates. So
Yeah.
all right, guys. I just thought that was interesting. I bring that up. We got anything in the chat or on Facebook or Yoo-Hoo or God knows wherever else you got this thing going? Any questions out there?
I don't think so.
Well, this was a pretty good event.
Yeah, it
in the
was
evening.
good. It was good.
It's always good. And Natasha, don't forget, you're gonna call Justin. Justin, you're gonna private message her when you guys get together.
Yeah, I sent you an email, Natasha. You should.
Thank you.
Yep. Oh, look at that beautiful baby.
She made it through the whole night. See that? She didn't fall asleep on us. I'm impressed. All right, Natasha. Everybody else, everybody good? We're all good for tonight? Natasha, Hervik, Meg, Vaughn, Justin, we're out. Have a good night. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, Coach Steve. Thank you, everybody.
Take care, guys.
We'll see you next time.